Okay, so 1.7, solve absolute value equations and inequalities. So first of all, we need to talk about what absolute value means. Okay? Okay, does anyone know what absolute value means?
No.
Okay, it is the lines, right? I'm just going to put an X. It's these lines are the absolute values. It means the distance from 0. Okay, is distance ever negative?
No.
No. So that's why the absolute values always go positive. Okay, so the absolute value of 16 is what?
16.
16. The absolute value of negative 18.4 is
18.4.
18.4. Because we're talking about
Distance from 0.
this distance, then it is positive because we don't say distances in negative values.
We'll just put it in reverse.
Am I good for an example, guys?
Yes.
So I have the absolute value of x minus 5 equals 7. Thank you. So before we start this problem, I have a question for you. If I take the absolute value of 7, I get what?
7.
7. But there's another number I can take the absolute value of and get 7. Negative 7. So this says the absolute value is negative 7, but in here also could be negative 7, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we do to make it easier on us is we make it kind of like our compound inequalities. Once the absolute value is all alone, is it all alone over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no plus, minus, multiply by anything.
No.
So then we just say also equals negative 7. Because in here can either equal 7 or what?
Negative 7.
Negative 7. So if I cover this up and say ignore the absolute values, how would you solve that?
12.
How would you solve x minus 5 equals 7? Add 5. So I'm going to add 5 on the left and the right. So on the left, I get what?
2.
Negative 2. And on the right, I get 12. So this looks weird the way it's written. So x can equal negative 2 or 12. And you don't have to put an or. You can just put a comma if you want. But those are the two values of x that will give me an absolute value of 7. I think some of them want you to graph. I'll show you the graph. I'm not going to be too picky about the graph.
Okay.
So if I go to 0, yes?
Yeah.
So then, no, I don't want to graph it. I think that's going to confuse you. I don't like graphs on these. Questions?
No.
Mason, question? Okay, so you're talking, so I just want to make sure. Okay. Okay, so the absolute value of 5x minus 10 equals 45. Now, you notice that my absolute value over here isn't very large. Sometimes I make it ridiculously large, so I don't see that as 101. Okay, So is the absolute value all along?
Yeah.
Yes? So inside there could equal 45 or what? Negative 45. One of you needs to move if you can't stop from distracting yourselves. Okay, so now if I cover up this negative 45 here, how would I start solving this equation?
Divide everything by 5x.
No, I would add 10.
Add 10.
So add 10 to both sides. We did this with our inequalities last week, didn't we? So negative 45 plus 10 is negative 35 equals 5x. Also equaling what?
55.
55. Now, Henry, what? Divide everything by 5.
And then we 11.
So x is going to be negative 7 or 11. Now, if you look in the book, they wrote 2 different equations, guys. They wrote this equation, and then they wrote this equation. And they solved them. They added 10. And divided by 5. And we got the same answer, okay? Would you rather write it like this and be solving them both at one time, or write 2 different equations?
At the same time.
Okay, if you want to write 2 different equations, it's certainly fine. Okay, then we have things called extraneous. What does extraneous sound like? Extraneous. Extra.
A lot.
Extra. Okay, extraneous means extra.
Yes.
Okay, so I have the absolute value of 2x plus 12 equals 4x. Okay, so this equaled 4x, so we'll have to figure that out in the end, but it can equal 4x or what? Negative 4x. So, subtract the 2x on both sides?
Yes.
So negative 6x equals 12. And I am going to write this one as 2 separate just because we have a 12 in the middle, right? And 12 equals 2x?
Yes. We got 6. X equals 6.
Nope.
Divide by 2.
You got to divide it. So x equals negative 2. And x equals, oh, you were doing this one first. 6. Sorry. Okay, now do they both work? That's the question.
Yes.
Okay, so what we have to do is plug these 2 in and see if this works. So I'm going to start with negative 2. You guys good with negative 2?
Yes.
So we have 2x plus 12 equals 4x. So the absolute value of 2 times negative 2 plus 12 has to equal 4 times negative 2.
All right.
Okay?
That's definitely-
So this is negative 8, yes? Yes?
Yes.
Okay? This in here would be negative 4 plus 12, which would be what? The absolute value of 8. Well, what is the absolute value of 8? 8. Does 8 equal negative 8?
Yes.
Does 8 equal negative 8? No. So negative 2 is not a solution. I don't want you to scribble it out. I don't want anything other than an X. So let's check the 6. This is our check, guys. So the absolute value of 2 times 6 plus 12. 4 times 6. Well, 4 times 6 is 24. And this is 12. And 12 plus 12 is? And the absolute value of 24 is?
24.
So does this one work?
Yes.
Yes. So the only answer I have then
Just 6.
is 6.
You're already in my head.
Is that 0.8?
Point 8.
Is that 8?
This one right here?
Yes.
Just a line.
Alright, erase that.
Give me a second.
I must have just hit it with my pen.
Come on, do that. Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay, I want to do one more example and then yes, you are good to go.
You need keys?
Okay, so the last example I want to do is the absolute value of 4x minus 1 is equal to 2x plus 9.
The other side is minus 2x minus 9. Yeah.
Now the other side, Cody just says, well, we have to subtract the other side. So the other side would be negative 2x plus 9. But what do you have to do with your negative?
You gotta distribute.
You have to distribute it. So it'd be negative 2x plus 9. Oops,
Would be
minus 9.
You?
Okay, equals, and I think this time it might be easier to write two different equations. What do you think?
Yes.
Why do I think that now?
Because then you don't have to deal with as many x's.
Right.
You confuse yourself.
Because we have an expression over here, it's easier to separate in two equations.
No.
So on this one, I'm assuming you guys would add 2x
Yes.
Then you
and add 1.
Yes.
negative 8 equals 2x.
Negative 8 equals 2x.
That would be 6x, wouldn't it? Because you gotta add the 2.
Oh, 6. Yes, thank you. Sorry. Divided by 6. So x equals negative 4/3.
However that works, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, what goes into 8 and 6?
Oh, 2.
Two.
I see how you did that. Never mind. You're good.
Okay. On the other one, I'm going to subtract 2x and add 1.
And then you got minus 2.
Now I have my 2x equals 10. Divide by 2.
5.
So x equals 5.
And then you gotta plug it all back in.
Yep, and they do both work.
They both work on this one.
Yeah, they both work on this one.
Yes, Captain.
So, when I have a whole expression over here, I have to distribute the negative through it. And separating it here may have been a little bit more work, but it kept us from getting confused, right? Okay, so I put these in sections. The first are the basics. What do I have? 3 through 5? Okay. You do need to check on your first ones. I didn't give you an example of this. I'm sorry. I'll give you an example now. Okay, I have the absolute value of 2m plus 6 equals 10. Is negative 8 a solution? How do I find out?
You plug it in that.
Plug it in, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's 2
So it's 2 times negative 8.
plus 6, and then equals 10. Then you got negative 16 plus 6.
So negative 16 plus 6 is the absolute value of negative 10.
10. And then 10.
10
Which is a great value.
equals 10. So is it a solution?
Yeah.
Yes. So we checked it already. We did that one other one in this. But 3, 4, and 5 all are just, is this a solution? So you plug it in and they match. That'd be yes or no. They're not solutions. Okay? 9 through 14 are the basics. 21 through 29 get a little bit more difficult. And then the 34 through 39 are like these last ones that we did. And we don't have any inequalities today. That is tomorrow. Questions before I let you go?
No.
Okay. Yes. Yes.